Yo, 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 what's up, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of A&E Blitz, hosted by the obvious, right? We got Big Tim across the table from me. J Bones here with you. You can follow us over on Twitter, Instagram, AE Podcast. You can also follow us wherever you're listening to this, which is exclusively on YouTube, as well as go ahead and check out our normal podcast links that will be down below. My friend, welcome to the show.
Jay, always a pleasure to be here, my friend. I was scrolling on X earlier today.
Ugh, terrible name, by the way.
And unfortunately, one of my worst fears has been confirmed.
What's that?
Pirates of the Caribbean, my beloved franchise, started in 2003 with Johnny Depp, is being rebooted fresh.
How could they? How could they do this?
I mean, listen, I understand, and I'm not going to get into it, but the whole, Johnny Depp, Amber Heard thing.
We can get into it.
Yeah, I'm not getting into it. That's a whole just, nasty route I don't want to go.
Yeah.
Disney needs to man up.
Admit they were wrong.
Admit they were wrong and say, Johnny, you are Jack Sparrow. We need you back.
He is Jack
because
Sparrow.
Every attempt they made over those 6 films to create spin-off characters was an absolute disaster.
I mean,
the only one that I think would have been worth really going down would have been Barbossa, but they killed him off in the last one.
Or David Jones. Like a pre.
They also killed him off too.
Yeah.
And then, let's be honest, there was a young gentleman who was rescued by mermaids in the Blackbeard one, but he wasn't that interesting either.
Yeah.
Now, I would have loved to explore the mermaids a little bit, absolutely, because the actress that played her was phenomenal. She looked very beautiful, very beautiful woman, and it would have been a cool kind of segue because let's be honest, the only real mermaid movie thing that we have going on at any point is The Little Mermaid. We never expressed what the mermaid tale really is, which is mermaids who seduce sailors, drag them to the deep, kill them, and eat them.
Yeah.
Because that's what mermaids technically are. That's the real urban legend behind them. Not Ariel singing, dancing, making the service dwellers fall in love with her. No, it's I'm going to seduce you, drag you down to the water, drown you, kill you, eat you.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. This is what little girls aspire to be.
Yeah. Well, they don't know the true story, but here we are.
We are.
And that would have been a cool, avenue to kind of go down a little bit.
Yeah,
what Pirates of the Caribbean was always exploring cool urban legends.
The Kraken,
David
Jones,
the Fountain of Youth, Davy Jones. A whole bunch of Davy Jones' locker. The afterlife. All these cool things that. That's what That's what it's about.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, but the first one was so real. Really? It was undead pirates. Really?
Right.
Real.
Literally.
Okay. Yeah, maybe the first half an hour of that movie was, realistic, and then they brought the undead pirates into the mix. So
then he reveals himself as the nighttime and all that. Yeah. Listen, I don't like this reboot. I don't like any reboots, truthfully. I think the only ones you can get away with it is the superhero movies.
Now, I'm a fan of soft reboots where you include the prior movies as canon and you maybe push it down the line or you introduce another character, but you're still keeping the original story canon.
That's more like sequel and then reboot.
Look at Jurassic World was originally off spin as a reboot, but in reality it was just a sequel.
Yeah,
and that's what they should do with Pirates. Maybe you retire Johnny Depp. But you bring in a new character. Maybe you now focus on Orlando Bloom, Keira Knightley. Even at the end of the movie, they tease Davy Jones' return. Why not do that?
I feel like they're just
And nobody's ever dead in Pirates. They brought back Barbossa back from the dead.
Right.
Jack Sparrow from the locker. Any one of those avenues could have been advantageous in the future. And you look at some of the characters they used. They had Penelope Cruz in there.
There's just so many,
just so many,
why
really
would you...
Great, and even Salazar. Salazar was a great character, too.
You just lock yourself in so much when you do a reboot like this. Because it's almost okay, we're just going to tell the same story again, and it looks like a money grab. Rather than, hey, we're going to tell this new story with these new characters that kind of can build off of what was done before.
Yeah, maybe they announced it wrong. They went with a full reboot. Maybe they said full reboot instead of soft reboot, or maybe they leave the window open for Johnny Depp to return as Jack Sparrow. Because let's be honest, like I say Pirates of the Caribbean, the first thing that goes to your head,
and sometimes for some people, the only thing
is Jack Sparrow and
Yeah.
Johnny Depp. I mean, Johnny Depp has taken that character to new heights. I mean, he would visit kids in the hospital in full costume. He would sometimes jump into the Pirates of the Caribbean attractions at Disneyland or Disney World and surprise people, or he would show up in the parks in full character. Like when you think Jack Sparrow, it's Johnny Depp.
Right, you hear Pirates of the Caribbean, the first thing you think, the drunken pirate, Jack Sparrow. Like, you think of the rum-loving Jack Sparrow.
Yeah, the drunk but brilliant strategic mastermind, always plotting, always scheming. My man...
With the compass and everything.
My man literally is a tactical genius.
Yeah, I mean, it's such a shame that, like, again, that they're just kind of going so far away from this character because... Sparrow is like the heart and soul of the franchise. Like obviously you have other standout characters, like you said, Orlando Bloom. Him and Keira Knightley, like their relationship and their, kind of like their characters, kind of like love interest and also like kind of throwing in Jack in there a little bit as well. Like obviously those three people were great choices, all incredible actors by the way as well. But like. They really could have also been standouts, but like the first person you think of is Jack Sparrow. You have Davy Jones, but he was CGI. Like you have, again, other standout characters, but when you think of the franchise, you think Jack Sparrow, and to now cut him out and just say, "Hey, we're done with you. We're gonna reboot this thing." It just doesn't feel the same, and I don't think it's gonna garner the hype that they think it will.
No, and
so
like,
I just don't know.
You look at like all the actors they've thrown into this franchise. You know what I mean? There's a lot of them. Like it would take me a few minutes to rattle off all the names, but you think of each film had major characters that like not only played a role in history at some point, that you could have explored upon, but they also use real good actors to portray those roles.
Like especially like Will Turner's dad, like
he was solid.
Really good actor.
Yeah. Like
outside of those movies, he's an incredible actor. Like it's just the stuff that they are throwing away, like the lure, especially the background lure that they're throwing away. It sucks because there's a lot of characters they could build off. Like you said, there's star-studded casts throughout all of the films. And the fact that they're just like, nah, we're done with it. We're gonna move on to these sequels. It really is kind of disheartening to the people who were true and loyal to the franchise for so many years. Like you said, it started in 2003. So to those people who were so loyal to this franchise and to Johnny Depp, and just to the characters that existed, and to the movies themselves, the stories that were being told, like you said, the lore and not the franchises, the kind of those stories that nobody really delved into until Pirates did, and then not only that, they tied in the rides to the movies as well. Like that was just everything that they did with the original Pirates was just so damn good.
Yeah, well, like I'm gonna go over a couple like massive actors here. Okay, ready? Zoe Saldana.
Yep.
Geoffrey Rush, Kevin McNally, Johnny Depp, obviously, Keira Knightley.
Yep.
Jonathan Pryce, Orlando Bloom, Tom Hollander, Bill Nighy, Stellan Skarsgård. Let's see,
Speaking of him,
who?
Skarsgård, our favorite Andor actor. Like
he was good. I mean, you have Penelope Cruz, Stephen Graham, Ian McShane. I mean, that was Blackbeard. I mean, come on, that's freaking awesome. Javier Bardem, who was a really, really good foreign actor. I mean, like you had so many different like people and different ways and different stories and different timelines that they could have explored. I mean, think about the last Pirates movie, Dead Men Tell No Tales, where you have Captain Salazar, who kind of briefly explored young Jack Sparrow. Young Jack Sparrow is full of a million different stories you can tell because there's there's a lot of things you can go that way. Obviously,
there's a lot of stuff that like happens before the movies. Like he's already like 40 in the movies, I guess. When they start, so like you could backtrack all of these years at least 20 years.
You could find a young actor, to
Easily.
play him, right now, and or you can de-age if you really want to go that route.
Yeah.
It's always a possibility. But like you could have told so many stories because, in the first movie, Isla de Muertos, okay, where they find the Aztec treasure
yeah.
of Cortez, right? That's awesome. But he had to learn about it. How did talk about more about Tortuga, where you spend a good portion of the franchise. You could have explored a little more of Keira Knightley and her time growing up in Port Royal.
Yeah.
Orlando Bloom's character. You can talk about the early adventures of the Black Pearl. The plundering adventures of Barbossa trying to get all back 883 pieces of the stolen Aztec gold.
Yeah.
Like, you could have gone any different route because these are fan favorites. Like, I'm sure there was a ton of Barbossa stands out there that would love to learn more about Captain Barbossa. And then even after the fact, you look at Barbossa in the future when he becomes part of the Royal Navy.
Yeah.
We could have learned more about him. Jack Sparrow's dad and the pirate lords when they formed the pirate island at World's End.
Yeah.
Like, that's a whole different avenue they could have explored, and it would have been really freaking cool.
And that's the problem when it comes to like reboots rather than going down the timeline, is that all of these things you just listed off, not that they're no longer options, but now they have no meaning because there's no emotional connection tied to them through the characters we've already built with and through the people we already love. So now you have to rebuild that connection, reestablish it, make it just as good, if not better than the original connection, and then build a secondary story off of that, assuming that the first one succeeds. And it's a very difficult task for filmmakers to do. It really is. It's very hard to do this. I mean, just look at the Batman franchise, for example. Like, how many times have they rebooted that thing? And you've had some flops in there. Now, you had, like, the 90s Batman. It flopped. Well, not that it flopped, but it wasn't quality to the way we have now. And there's some standouts like The Dark Knight and the recent Batman film, but there's flops. And, like, you can look at any franchise that's rebooted the same character over and over and over, like Superman, and Spider-Man, and all. You can look at these things, and while in hindsight we can look back and say they may not have been flops, in the moment at the box office, they were not what they were supposed to be. And I think you're going to find the same thing happens here with the Pirates, unfortunately.
Yeah, but look at the Pirates right now, right? Let me give you some numbers, okay? 654 million, 1.06 billion, 960 million, 1.045 billion, 794 million, for a grand total of $4.5 billion across a $1.36 million budget. That is $3 million in straight
$3 billion
revenue.
Yeah.
$3 million in straight revenue. But we want to reboot.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. I mean, I know that like now we're talking about a 20-year-old franchise from the start. Like the actors are still young enough to play these roles. That's it. They got them young. Like they got Orlando Bloom young. They got Keira Knightley young. They got Depp relatively young.
Yeah, I mean, Keira Knightley was 18 when she filmed.
Yeah.
Actually, she turned 18 while filming The Black Pearl.
Mhm.
Curse of the Black Pearl. You know what I mean? But you can now, like, explore Will Turner's son. Like, explore that a little more. Explore the gap between the two.
Or you can go up
You
to
know
his
what I
dad
mean?
as well and explore that, like even further than they have already.
Yeah, explore his time as Davy Jones.
Yeah.
Like, I would love to know more what turned Will from doing his job as the messenger of souls to all of a sudden he's starting to grow scales. Like,
Yeah.
why did he betray Calypso's wishes? Tell me more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's plenty of avenues that they could run down that I think they're just neglecting to do. Yeah, I know it's partially because Depp said he wouldn't go back, but it's also partially because Disney refuses to drop these fucking, like these thoughts about Depp, I guess, as I'll put it. It's a tough situation, like in terms of like legally, like obviously, kind of the same way we had to deal with recently with Quantum Mania and Jonathan Majors, but
Or even Cara Dune's character.
yeah, in Mandalorian, yeah, I mean. It's really, it sucks that we are in this position again, right? Like, but it's the reality. Unfortunately, it's the unfortunate reality of Hollywood. Like, everyone is like this in Hollywood. It's kind of a curse of Hollywood, and hopefully, these things can stop coming out and they can stop ruining our favorite franchises with it. Like I said, man, the reboot way, I don't love it. Not many of them succeed very very well. But even Creed, like I think Creed would be like a great example of like a reboot that did it right. You know what I mean? Like they rebooted with a new character down the line. Paid homage to the original characters, right? In many ways, and just kept it pushing. You know what I mean? And they made an incredible trilogy out of that sequel. So I think you're just missing opportunity for truthfully.
I think that's fair.
I don't really know what they're thinking, to be honest with you. I think that's all we have here for Pirates. I think that the disappointment shines through in this episode.
Yeah, it's just they went the wrong direction this one.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's better options.
Disney needs to do better.
Do better, Disney. Hire us.
Yeah, for real. I'm like that ad lib guy from TikTok where he's like, he snorts the line and he's like, all right, give me a couple random actors, give me a topic, give me an inanimate object, and he's like, all right, here we're going to do this, and I'm like, why does that make sense?
But then he starts talking, you're like, wait a minute, oh, this sounds crazy. Okay, wait a minute, let him cook.
Let's make some fucking money.
Let him cook. Let him cook.
That's me just all the time.
No, it is, dude. Like every time I feel like we sit down and talk, that's how we get. Like there's episodes where we're just like, but they could do this and they could do this and they could do this. But anyway, I think that's all we have for you guys today for this episode of A&E Blitz. Come out every Tuesday and Thursday, 8 a.m. You can also check out our normal episodes that come out Monday, 8 a.m. over on wherever you listen to podcasts. They're available on Apple, on Spotify, on Google Podcasts. Wherever you listen, go ahead and follow us anywhere and everywhere we exist, which all the links are below if you don't want to go and search us up. Any final thoughts from you on Pirates, my friend?
What's dead may never die.
What's dead may never die. That is a great quote. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Let us know in the comments how you feel. Drop a like, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace out.
Hoist the colors high.